My name is Mr. Rogers, class of 2013, College Selfishness. Uh, and what I'm doing is answering the questions from Mr. Cain's winter project that focuses on these four films that revolves around the making of the fittest. Okay, in this video, I will identify other key genes and genetic switches involved in the evolution of body forms. I will name an alternate example of natural selection and adaptation. I will name an alternate example of fossil genes. I will name an alternate example of natural selection specifically in humans. I will name a current event within the past 5 years that shows how evolution is still impacting life and or society today. And finally, I will make my stand on how evolution can or cannot be reconciled with what I believe. Okay, I will begin with the second question, an alternate example of natural selection and adaptation. And I will start with the pepper moth. And as you see here, there's a lighter pepper moth and there's a darker pepper moth. Originally, the pepper moth was whitish in color, and this gave them an advantage before the Industrial Revolution because it allows them to camouflage with the trees, as you see in this picture right here. It is very difficult to spot the pepper moth because it is whitish in color and it camouflages with the white trees, unlike the dark pepper moth, which makes it easier to spot. However, during the Industrial Revolution, the trees started to become darker in stain, and this proved to benefit the darker pepper moth because they were able to better camouflage to their surroundings, while the white pepper moth was at a disadvantage because of its color, thus making it an easier target for predators. This is an example of natural selection because with an advantage to their environment, the darker pepper moths were able to reproduce more than the white pepper moth because the white pepper moths were easily spotted by predators. Thus, they were easily picked off by them, thus decreasing their population. Next, for identifying other key gene and genetic switches involved in the evolution of body forms, I chose the term homeostasis. And according to biologyonline.com, which is right here, homeostasis is defined as the formation of a normal structure or organ in place of another at an abnormal site, as caused by the expression of a mutated host gene. What this basically means is a body part is replaced with another one. An example that I will show you is this picture right here. As you see right here, these are the same types of insects. However, this insect has wings on its back. However, unlike this insect does not have wings right here, but it looks like it has an antenna or legs to replace the wings. And this is an example because this insect's environment probably forced it to rid its wings for some reason. Okay. For an alternate example of fossil genes, how genes change and evolve, I will focus on the pink salmon. For the pink salmon, a group of biologists were investigating the genetic basis of shifts towards earlier migration times in spawning pink salmon at Elk Creek, which is a stream near Juneau, Alaska. In 2010, the team found out that the fish swam upstream to spawn nearly 2 weeks earlier than they did 40 years ago. It was a trend that also seen in other salmon populations. Over the same period, the average temperature of the water rose by more than 1 degree. Now, the biologists tried to link the change in behavior to a genetic change. By 2011, the group of biologists found that the number of late migrating fish had dropped by at least 20% to make up just 10% of the population. They also found a threefold decrease in the frequency of the genetic marker. They found no changes in the frequencies of many other genes used as controls. This is an example in the case of the pink salmon because the genetic changes evolved quickly over just 1 or 2 generations, showing that organisms can adapt to new environment no matter what the climate change is. In addition, the salmon population has remained the same over the past 40 years, thus saying that the changes have aided in the resilience of the population to environment changes. For natural selections in humans, I will focus on the 4 people. The 4 people are cannibals who are known to eat the brains of dead relatives or family members. What the people did not know during this time is while they were doing this ritual was that they were infected with a disease called Kuru. Kuru is spelled Kuru, which is a brain disease passed on by eating human brains. When it was discovered that this was happening, the ritual halted. However, now present year, and 51 survivors and their descendants, biologists discovered a unknown variant of a gene that makes prion, which is the protein that spreads the disease. These prions become malformed and in turn make all healthy prions their counter malformed as well, in a chain reaction that ultimately destroys brains by turning it into a spongy mush. The change in the gene comes at a position that is called codon 127. Biologists were amazed when they found a variant of the codon that was not seen in nature before, in which one of the glycines had been swapped for a valent amino acid, giving the new variant the name G127V. Biologists initially thought that because the variant had never been seen before, it was more harmful than beneficial. However, they found the exact opposite, and that it was actually protective. So you can say it was anti-Kuru. This is an example because in the past, the single individual who passed down this Kuru to his descendants, there were maybe a couple of families who found that they and their children survived while all their neighbors were dying. And so today, those who still carry the gene is a very sudden genetic change under intense selection pressure from the disease. If you want to know more information about this type of discovery, find it on www.newscientist.com. The article is titled Gene Change and Cannibals Reveal Evolution in Action. A current event that shows that evolution is still impacting life or society today revolves around, of course, a mother and their child. How? According to biologists, they say that among women, the average age of first reproduction drops from age 26 to 22. This study supports the idea that increasingly younger birth age were influenced by genetic changes caused by natural selection. The cause of this evolutionary change is likely due to the falling mortality rates or other issues that are present in the environment. Okay, finally, I will give my stance on the topic of religion versus evolution. As you see here, religion, Jesus versus evolution, Charles Darwin. These two have different beliefs. Um, in evolution, such as Charles Darwin, he believed that everything in life evolved. So you know the famous story from man to ape. I guess you could say the frog evolved into a human. I don't understand that myself. And there's also the perception of the Holy Bible, which is the Adam and Eve's theory is that God created everything. He created the heavens, the earth. He created animals. He created man. He created everything. Okay, coming from a religious background, I I am more on the I am more on the religious side, coming from a religious background and a religious mother who basically made me go to church every day, every Sunday. It's kind of crazy. However, I believe that evolution can and some be reconciled with what I believe because there are evidence that shows that there are examples of evolution. As I previously stated with the pepper moth, where it was originally whitish in color and had to evolve to a dark color to adapt to the change in its environment when the trees change from light to dark. However, at the same time, I don't believe that evolution does not have the answer for how everything was made and how we were developed. Um, so I believe I will agree with George Washington Carver, who also had to deal with this same issue. He made a famous quote that says, "Reading about nature is fine, but if a person walks in the woods and listens carefully, he can learn more than what's in books, for they speak with the voice of God." I agree with that quote because I believe evolution does not have an answer for everything. Everything they believe is just man-made beliefs. I believe more in faith with my religious belief in God. I would rather believe in the Holy Bible than what man thinks does. Biologists rely on significant amount of evidence, hypotheses, and theories instead of faith. I'm more in believing in faith than evidence because of things that I witnessed and how I believe God has helped me throughout my years. So that's my current stance on religion and evolution. Okay, I am done with my project. I've done everything that I should have done for this project. For the people who have watched this video, thank you for your time. I apologize if it was boring to you, but this is Mr. Rogers' class of 2013 Proud Self. This is for Mr. Cain's AP Biology class.